Hello, welcome back.
Hey,
So that's the second month done. We're actually a little bit late for this recording, but that's the second month done. How you
yeah,
feeling, Andre?
man, I'm feeling great. It's been an awesome time. I'm learning more, gaining more, getting a little antsy because I want to jump in. But
I want to get in there. But I guess that's something we could talk about right off the bat, right? Because obviously, the whole point of this is that we're talking about what's it like being a remote learner at CSAP.
yeah,
And man, their curriculum is rigorous, which is important, but it's
correct.
very thorough
Hmm.
in a way where it's like, how do I put it? I feel like I'm getting a lot of disparate elements, but I don't quite know how they fit together just quite yet. And
That's a good way to
so
put it.
obviously we were talking earlier about like really excited to start getting into like OJE stuff,
Yeah,
but we still got a hot minute to get there. And
yeah,
so I'm feeling it a little bit where it's like the lessons are coming in and we have so many lessons next week. We have like 19 modules. We have 2, 4, 6, 7 ILTs next week. And it's like, oh my goodness. But
yeah.
yeah,
But
so we
exciting
got all
times, though.
that.
I mean, it's a lot. It's exciting. We have support with each other, which has been great. Been able to meet with our mentors to help get the encouragement we need. So it's been good. But CSAP is nothing to play with. It's no joke.
About to say when they said that it was serious, they meant
Yeah.
it. All right, so talking about some of the more specific topics that we're going to be covering this week, how do you feel about the material that we've learned so far? Like, do you feel confident in what you've learned? Do you feel like how do you feel about it so far?
The content, uh, how can I word this? So I've enjoyed the content. The content has been good. It's definitely something. It's new, for me,
Yeah.
especially with learning the basics of hardware and things of that nature. So it's even though it's new, even though I enjoy it, I do find at times for me personally, I have to go back and restudy some things because some
Hmm.
things just aren't sticking fully yet. Like I was telling you earlier, I'm more of a hands-on person. So for me, if I can take what I learned and then apply it, say it, things like that, then it'll be more.
The ideas are being established. You just need to be able to chisel them to stone.
Absolutely,
And I think
absolutely.
that's super fair because it's like, from my perspective, I'm a very organized fellow. I really like it when things are clearly established from the get-go. And that was one of the problems I was having with Mind Tickle relatively early on, was that like we had the checklist and the checklist was great, but I ended up just kind of binging all of the lessons all at once on like Monday or Tuesday,
Yeah,
because it's like the checklist wasn't super useful. It was nice to like try to keep track of it, but I was just like, I'm just gonna go through all the digital learnings, and then by like Friday when we would have the lesson, I would forget, and that's obviously a me problem. But clearly somebody is like listening to feedback, because just recently they started adding the links to the actual lessons themselves in the checklist, and oh my god,
right.
it helps so much. Like now, instead of my I have like a bookmark on my toolbar, and instead of that bookmark taking me to just the default like homepage, it takes me to the checklist now, because that's really useful and it helps a lot.
Right.
So in terms of like the content for what we're learning, it's obviously complex. That's like the whole point of CSAP.
Yeah.
But I feel a lot better about my ability to do the lessons properly, which is good.
Yeah. The structure of it's good. How they have the layout is they're improving it. We mentioned it in the first episode, but I'm glad that they're taking our feedback so that way they can improve it even as we go. So that's been helpful.
Exactly. So, next thing I wanted to talk about, we're going to get into the big thing that happened yesterday in just a moment. But I wanted to ask you, Miss Gia, our manager, has been doing a fantastic job with scheduling table talks
Yeah.
with people who are already in the role, already a combined seller, already like a sales representative and stuff like that. How do you feel about these table talks so far?
First, let me mention, shout out to Michelle Gia. She is of a manager that comes in and helps new people be onboarded and integrated into the Cisco culture. She's great. We can go to her and reach out to her for any and everything. She has been phenomenal. So just want to shout out Michelle. Really appreciate you. We love you, Michelle.
Yes, we do.
Really do. For kitchen table talk, or not kitchen table talk.
Kitchen table talk. No, I love it. New podcast idea. No. I was joking.
For the table talk she's been having, I really love that she's taking our feedback as a team, to ask us what would we like to see, what would we like to hear, and she goes and finds the people that we're asking about, lets us sit in on it. And these are people, some of them are people that are fresh out of CSAP. Some have been out of CSAP, just 2 years shy, and are giving us the real behind the scenes stuff that we want to hear. Not everything that's great, but the real
that's
side
the thing.
of
It's not going to be perfect, right? Like Cisco is obviously a great place to work. It's number one employer or whatever. But at the same time, I do really appreciate it when the people's in the table talk are talking very frankly about, some of the problems that they have, because it's never like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like they're sitting there griping about nonsense. It feels like they're talking about challenges that reasonable people would reasonably expect to encounter, and then how not only they surmounted it, but how the Cisco community helps them surmount it, how their team helps them surmount it, and stuff like that. And I don't know, I find comfort in addressing those concerns, because obviously I have those concerns, but it's nice to hear that these are real things that people do deal with,
Absolutely. And they want to see us succeed, which is great, because, maybe it's something where they ran into a specific challenge and they want to see us be able to overcome that challenge easier or avoid it altogether if at all possible. So it's been really good.
Exactly. So speaking on talking to professionals and whatnot, yesterday was GSE Day. For anybody who's not familiar, GSE is Global Enterprise Sales. And so we had an event where we're cheating a little bit. We already have a little bit of a advantage in this game, but for normal CSAP people, they have to apply for a position at the end of their CSAP graduation. And so that's what GSE's whole thing was about yesterday. So we got to talk with a lot of really interesting people. It was mostly speeches and stuff, mostly presentations, which is, informative and interesting in its own right. But then we were able to have the opportunity to have up to 4 one-on-ones afterwards with VPs and leads and sales representatives and stuff and account managers and all this jazz. And so I really liked the event. It was obviously a little verbose because it was literally the entire day, but at the same time, it was very valuable. And so how did you feel about it?
The content was valuable. It was great. Really enjoyed all of it. It was long, I will admit. It was long, getting a little bit of what my wife calls Zoom fatigue, but
WebEx fatigue.
Yeah, WebEx fatigue. Sorry. But being able to meet with some of the professionals one-on-one at the end, oh man, some of the not only the valuable connections I made, but the wisdom and the gems that were dropped that can help me progress and exceed in my career in the future, second to none, man. I mean, it was really good. Even the value of them sharing their experiences of what they went through, and most of the ones that I spoke with, all of them that I spoke with came out of CSAP themselves. So it was great to see leaders who are leading others, and then also one in particular, shout out to Bob Swain, individual contributor that's been with the company for 23 years, and he's killing it, and he's giving me these gems so I can do the same thing. I loved it. It was great.
That's fantastic. I feel like the number one thing that I got out of the one-on-ones yesterday was, beyond just fantastic info from pseudo mentors, which is just nice to have in general. It really gave me a perspective on just how important it is to meet people in this job. Because once again, I come from like a IT background, more or less. And I've said it before, but like normally in IT, if you're looking for problems, you're looking for trouble is the idea. And so this whole like networking where it's like you're supposed to be talking with people constantly doesn't come very natural to me. But then talking with all of these one-on-ones yesterday, obviously it was an event, but it was still nice to do in general. And it gave me a really great perspective on just a 20-minute conversation with these people was exorbitantly valuable. And it's like, it really does reinforce the idea of like, I should be doing this outside of events, probably.
Absolutely, yeah. Networking is valuable, 100%.
Yeah. So the last topic that we have for this week was we kind of alluded to it at the beginning of the podcast of OJE, on the job training type stuff. Boy howdy, I know we have a little ways to go before we start getting assigned to stuff and whatnot, like the stretch assignments and whatnot, but I am certainly raring to go. I don't know if I'm necessarily 100% like competent in what I would be asked to do per se, but I really, really want to reinforce the things that I'm learning right now with experience. And so, how do you feel? You told me off podcast that you're excited.
Yeah.
For OJE. So how are you feeling?
Yeah, very excited for OJE. It's not going to be till next year, but I'm very excited for it because then I'll be able to implement and apply all of this that I'm learning and the role plays and all of that. That for me, that's where I believe I'm going to shine, where I'm going to truly shine, putting it into practice and being someone that can just do it hands-on. So I'm excited for that. Can't wait for it.
Exactly. And obviously the big thing that, we have to take this in steps. And the next big thing that everybody is starting to really get riled up about is our second ASR, the assessed role play number 2. And hearing like former CSAP people talk about the assessed role plays and whatnot, they do evidently get like exponentially more complex as you go along. But also our tools are becoming exponentially more capable of handling these sort of situations. So will that be... Actually, I think that would be in the next podcast, wouldn't it? Wouldn't we have already done ASR number 2 by then?
I believe so. Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. But hey, something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's going by fast, man.
We're getting into week 11. Can you believe that?
That's crazy. This is crazy. But yeah, it's going by fast, but it's been a nice ride so far, and looking forward to what's to come. More people to meet, and more things to learn.
You know something? And this will be our closing thought, I think. You know what I just realized? We didn't really talk about being remote at all. I didn't really feel like it affected me that much this month.
No, I think the engagement with, listen, again, for Michelle, our manager, how she has been working to make sure that we're apart as if we're there has been really great. I don't feel like I'm by myself. Yes, I'm here in Maryland, and a lot of people there in North Carolina, but for me, I still feel a part of the team. It's been great, and yeah, that's all I got.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, with that being said, that wraps up today's episode. Fantastic. Thank you very much for spending a little bit of time with me this week. And we'll be back next month.
Sounds good. Thanks, Zach. Have a good one, everybody.
Ciao, ciao.